Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience tuning in on WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We welcome you all back to our program. Also, those joining us online worldwide through our good friends at iHeartRadio. We're glad you all could be with us as well. I'm excited to welcome back to the program today chef and author Deborah Hunter. We're going to talk to Deborah not only about the year that's been 2020 for her and her business, Cooking with Honey and Friends, but also what it's been like for her to be able to see a new audience come to her, but also, of course, to be able to stay connected with her fans and her supporters online. Deborah is one of our honorees this year for WYAD's 94.1 FM's 6-year anniversary event that's taking place on Saturday, September the 12th. I'll be filling you guys in on the details about how you guys can join us virtually for that. But, Deborah, thank you so much again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Wow, Cyrus. It's always exciting to hang out with you. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. It is always great to be able to spend some time with you as well, Deborah. So a lot for us to cover. This has been a busy year for you, but I want to begin there. I mean, here we are now in almost the middle of September, it's hard to believe, of 2020. What has it been like for you to reflect on this year and the things that has come your way this year?
So, Cyrus, can I tell you, in spite of all of the craziness that's going on in the world, this has probably been one of the most inspiring years of my life because I had to check in with what I really believe, all the things that I've always said about who God was in my life, this walk of Christianity. And so what this year did for me was force me to check into my beliefs and to really trust God. And when I tell you, because I always say life is delicious, this really has been a truly delicious year for me.
Yeah. And that's such a great thing, Deborah, because for so many people, and we've been talking about this on this program, unfortunately, they have kind of thrown in the towel for this year because there has been a lot of things that could very easily get people down, right? I mean, whether they are personally impacted by the coronavirus, COVID-19, or even the injustices we've been seeing all over the place, people losing jobs and, people dealing with sicknesses and unfortunately death. So I want to ask you about the spark for you, because I think that's where it all begins. I mean, I say all the time, happiness is a choice. What made you choose to focus on the joy instead of the sadness?
Well, one of the things that you know about me personally, Cyrus, is that I truly believe in the power of prayer. And in one of those moments of me praying, I was reminded that we live from the inside out. And this is a time where we really should glean from that source, because if we focus on all the numbers of things that you just talked about, we become powerless. But when you remember that God is a never-ending source of hope, of happiness, of prosperity, of healing, of joy, all of the things that he promised, I was really forced to check into that, and it's a mind game, Cyrus. We really have to choose our thoughts daily. You and I both talk about the fact that happiness is a choice, and right. I want people to know that I don't live, with rose-colored glasses on. Life happens to me, but I have to decide: do I want to be a victim, or do I want to be victorious? And personal choice, Cyrus, is to be victorious. And that means sometimes you have to get in a fight, but you have to know what your weapons of warfare are. And they are peace of mind, they are kindness to others under pressure, there are giving in times of lack. It stirs up something universally powerful within us, and the darkness tends to fall away when you step into the light.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, Deborah. And to that point, though, you have made some pivots this year, and it's been interesting to me talking with people all over the country about how they have been navigating the world this year with everything changing. Because all of us have had to adapt in some form or fashion. In business, this year brought a new addition for you, and even a new name for you, as people have gotten to kind of follow you online as the Cookie Lady. So how did you go from being just our regular honey to now being the Cookie Lady?
Well, it's like you said, COVID-19 shut the world down, and resources shifted, and how you think about business quickly shifted. And, where I'm used to being in very public spaces with tons of people, now I find myself being quarantined at home, and I had to figure out how to, continue to produce income for myself. And a friend of mine, a couple of months earlier, had called in, before we knew about the COVID, had called and asked me to bake some cookies for his office, and I did. And the cookies went really well. And so the birth of the Cookie Lady happened between somebody inviting me to do something that I normally don't do and COVID-19. And it's just been incredible. I didn't know people love cookies so much, Cyrus, and I'm a chef. It's really crazy. But we've had really great response from the different varieties of cookies. I mean, I have a cookie that's called a sweet potato pie cookie that is doing extremely well. It's just been, I'm going to say it's the grace of God more than anything else, Cyrus,
Well, I want to commend you on something, and I think I probably have said this to you in our private conversations, but I want to bring it up because I think it's important for the conversation we're having now, Deborah. You really use social media to your advantage, and not just in sharing those real-time testimonials from people enjoying your cookies that have made me quite jealous, I must say, but even in just sharing, books that you are reading and thoughts that are coming to you. So I want to talk to you about that, because social media is not easy for everyone. Social media does not come natural for everyone. You seem to be very natural in that element. Did you know, though, Deborah, that was going to be important for your business?
Not at all, Cyrus. I think what I'm natural at, more than being somebody that's really fluent with social media, is I genuinely love people, and I think that comes across in any audience that you're in. You become a lover of people, and you become a magnet for what's good, Cyrus. And so it's really funny to me because I'm always telling people that I love them, and I want them to know that I'm accessible, that I'm available to them. I'm concerned about what's going on in their lives. So I'm not just trying to sell you something. I think for me, one of the most irritating things that ever happens is for somebody to send me a friend request, and immediately, without even trying to get to know who I am, they want to sell me something. So in business, what I've learned is people really don't care what you know or what you're selling. They really want to know, do you care about me, even when I'm spending my dollar? And so just being genuine about people. I mean, this planet works because of people. And if we're not lovers of each other, if we're not concerned about the next person, simple things like sending genuine birthday messages. I try not to do a lot of those generic things that come across Facebook, but really speaking to what I know about you as a person. Or, just showing up with some cookies for somebody randomly, just doing acts of kindness, Cyrus. It will open doors for you and opportunities that all the knowledge and all the know-how, because I tell people all the time, I'm really not that brilliant, but what I am is genuine when I say that I love you. Yeah,
and I think that is such a great point. For those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome back Deborah Hunter to our program today of Cookie with Honey and Friends. We've been talking with her not only about the year that's been 2020 for her personally and for her business, but also what it's been like for her to be able to shine her light with others, and, of course, to see the response to that As I mentioned, Deborah, you're one of our honorees this year for Mississippi Success.
Yay!
It's in conjunction with WYAD 94.1 FM's 6-year anniversary event taking place on Saturday, September the 12th. I want to talk about success for a moment because it's an interesting thing. You and I have had this conversation in person. So I want to talk about for you at this point. Of course, I know you personally too, but I want you to be able to talk about this. How has your idea of success changed?
Well, I took away the idea of chasing money and started really investing in what it was that I wanted as a human being in terms of life and the pursuit of true happiness. And so let me stop. Money is important, but
right.
even more important than money, Cyrus, is being able to go to the mirror and look at yourself and say, I like what I'm doing. I really love the way that I'm doing it. I love the people that I'm doing it with. It just brings a different level of empowerment because I have friends who are extremely wealthy, but some of them are not always really happy. And so in the pursuit, for me, it's knowing when I can pick up the phone and call you personally, Cyrus. I know that I'm connecting from a human standpoint, and I'm not always trying to do business. One of the things last night as I was meditating, I realized we live in a world that we have over-exercised the word purpose, and everybody's chasing a purpose, and you make it a job, and everybody's feeling like they're not coming up because you then start to compare yourself to somebody else's purpose instead of just being.
Right.
You just be happy, be love, be kindness, be excited. Just be instead of making your life a job. Just enjoy the journey. And for me, it was letting go of the idea that I had to, if people are only going to accept me in a room because I have degrees and titles and I've had accomplishments, they're not in love with me, Cyrus. They're in love with the things that I do. And I'd much rather have the value of those people that love me just because. And so for me, that's true success.
Has it been easy for you, Deborah, to appreciate yourself? And let me tell you why I asked that question. I think for our audience out there, because I know I've been in this situation as well, a lot of times other people see our value and worth before we do, right? What has it been like for you to appreciate the gift that God has put in you?
So I think that's the trick of coming into the world. I believe all of us are created priceless. But once we get here, everything in this outward verse that we live in starts to pull away at what we really are and how valuable we really are. Sometimes it's the voices that raise us. Sometimes it's the friends that we're around. Or sometimes it's just those inner conversations that just refuse to believe that you truly are God or godly. And so, it's not always been easy, Cyrus. And for me, I think it was when I decided to step away from everybody's thoughts, including mine, and find out what it is that God really said about who I am, and then choosing to truly believe it outside of a religious experience, but really making my life about relationship with Him, learning to really trust what God has said about me and that He really loves me, and I don't have to jump through hoops. He's not mad with me one day and happy with me the next. And I think all of us experience that growing up as children, and it creates these mental breakdowns that become very hard. They're like the walls of Jericho. Your thoughts build walls or they build roads. And most of us live with a lot of walls. And So one of the things that I did for myself several years ago, Cyrus, I know this is going to sound crazy, I literally took the television out of my home. I took every distraction away from my space that I live in, and I created a place where I could come in peace, get quiet, meditate, pray, and read lots of books and experience life from a very holistic place. There are people that I've made mentors that I have never physically seen, but the path that they've chosen is full of light. So I choose to surround myself with healthy voices, and it's a daily. It's like working out. You have to put the effort in, but I put it in with joy because I'm worth it. You're worth it, Cyrus. And I'm really grateful. And I say this to you all the time for your presence as my friend. It has nothing to do with what we do on the business side, but just to know you personally. You are really one of the most kind human beings that I've ever met. And it's finding people like you that I connect myself with that empowers me. I find champions. I want to run with people that are really doing the right things in life, and so it makes the course a lot easier. And with running with great people, what I've learned to do is not compete, Cyrus, but to just trust them to love me and to care for me, and not say, well, I'm not doing what Cyrus is doing, and I must not be good enough. My thought every day is, my name is Deborah Hunter. It's going to be that throughout all of eternity, and I'm going to be the best me I can be today. And
and I think that's the key. I think that is it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Deborah.
No, you go ahead, Cyrus.
No, I'm just going to say I think that's the key, and I think you bring up a really interesting point because people are sometimes so concerned about being like someone else or being the next someone else instead of just embracing who God created them to be. And I think in them doing that, they're basically saying exactly what you're saying, that they're not enough. But I love the fact what you're saying is by embracing who Deborah Hunter is, you're realizing that you are enough and that you matter and that what you bring to the table matters. And I think that's the big reminder for all of us. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, and I feel the same way about you, about being definitely a source of inspiration. And as a friend, very glad to be able to see your rise and to see what you've been able to do because I know what you've done to get there. So it definitely means a lot. So for people who are, we're going to let them know how to stay connected with you, Deborah, but for people who are looking at themselves now, here in the middle of September, maybe they have not started doing what they were supposed to do. Maybe they've made the mistake of waiting until things go back to normal, right? And before they start trying to pursue something, what would you say to them about the importance of taking advantage of now?
Well, the crazy thing, Cyrus, is life is never normal. It's just not. We're in a constant cycle of change. And it's like as a little girl growing up in Mississippi playing jump rope, we would have to jump in. Sometimes you just got to go ahead and jump in and make it happen. One of the things that I would share with people that I do personally mentally, because every day is not easy, I go to the mirror and I say, I can do this. I was born to do this. And I am the daughter of God. I was created to do this. And you have to talk yourself into it. I tell people all the time, you talk yourself into love, you talk yourself out of love. You can talk yourself into success, Cyrus. You can talk yourself out of it. It's about making a choice. Just have to, and it's making little bitty steps. You don't just wake up one morning and it's there. You have to till the ground. You have to plant the seed. There's waiting periods. There are going to be dry seasons. There's going to be wet seasons. But you have to go through the process and realize that God is not trying to punish you. You and I had a conversation a few days ago, and one of the things I said to you that in my prayer time I heard God say to me, why call me God if you don't trust me to live an abundant life? And, and most of us, no matter what our religious beliefs are, we are facing a God or a deity. Why call on the name of something great if you don't believe that deity loves you enough for you to have greatness? And I just believe God loves me enough. He loves you enough. He loves all of us enough. And one of the things that my motto for my life is to live full and die empty. We are all treasure boxes. Don't take your treasure box back into eternity. Pour all of your gifts into the earth. Leave them for your children and your children's children. But you have to make the effort to pour yourself out. Don't be afraid to do that. You're not going to lose anything, because every day when I wake up, sorry, no matter what happened yesterday, I'm still Deborah Hunter. I didn't lose me. You don't get to lose yourself. You just have to trust the process enough and stop watching what everybody else is doing, because, I tell everybody else, I'm kind of a weird bird. I just decided to stop paying attention to what people say about me, what they think about me, and for me to just show up with my gifts, with my love, my talent, my time, and give it away. And once we make that decision, the earth collectively will shift. I was meditating this morning, Cyrus, and I had this profound thought. The Bible says, if any two of you touch and agree, that he would be in the midst. Can you imagine right now the whole world is touching and agreeing with negativity from a worldly standpoint and from a religious standpoint? Everybody is saying gloom and doom. So if we're agreeing with that, we get more of that. But if we decide to stop and collectively and just be grateful and say thank you and be positive and pour love one to another, the entire world will shift back to a much better, or move, I don't want to say shift back, move forward, Cyrus, to a much better place,
Yeah, so true. We definitely have our part to play, and I think that's great to be reminded of that. Again, everyone, Deborah Hunter has been our guest. Always a pleasure speaking with you, Deborah. We'll be honoring Deborah as well as our 4 other honorees this Saturday, September the 12th at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's 3 p.m. Pacific Time. You guys can join us no matter where you're living in the world on Facebook. We'll be doing this live virtually at facebook.com/WYAD941FM is where you guys can be able to join us. Deborah will be honored along with master event planner Melissa Banks, community activist Pauline Rogers, author Dennis Perkins, and recording artist Vic Allen. So we're excited about this year's honorees. And Deborah, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Well, of course, Cyrus, on Facebook, you can send me a personal friend request at Deborah Hunter. You can also find me at the Deborah Hunter Collection. I have an art collection, Cooking with Honey and Friends. Social media is a beautiful place. I'm also on Instagram at Cooking with Honey and Friends, Cyrus.
Right. So make sure you guys are definitely staying connected.
And before we go,
Yeah.
Before we go, Cyrus, again, I just want to say I am so grateful for the gift that you are in the world. You are truly a connector of people. You have done it with so much grace and kindness. Every time I think about having a bad day and not treating somebody kindly, I say, what would Cyrus do if he saw me right now, right?
Oh, boy.
And it inspires me to just continue to be better. So thank you for being the person that you are.
Well, look, thank you for inspiring us all, Deborah, to be better. You're still not off the hook with the cookies, but I definitely thank you for being you and for bringing your gifts, to the world. I appreciate that. My address is 105. Deborah, thank you again. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
All right, Cyrus. Love you, kid. Thank you so much.
All right, you're more than welcome. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.